A very good morning, everyone. Welcome to StudyIQ English. Welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis with me on 2nd March 2026. Let's change the date here. 2nd March 2026. So, welcome to a new month, but not just a new month, but then also too many developments. Like I was wondering in the morning, I just haven't met my students on one day, that's Sunday, the 1st of March. Looks like I haven't met my students for about 5 to 10 years looking at the global developments. I mean, if you look at the geopolitical developments, in just about 48 hours, the world is already a new place to live in. Where is the law and order? What happened to the West Asian diplomacy? What about United Nations? Charter Article 24, Article 51. What about the fact that countries like Russia and Iran had promised support to each other? What about China, who was an active trading partner of Iran? And what about United States of America, which said that we are trying to have some negotiation with Iran? We may not go for a direct attack, and what has happened in the last 48 hours has really shocked all of us together. It's an out and out act of imperialistic attack, unilateral attack by one country, that's US, along with its followers like UAE, Israel, which has completely destroyed the sovereignty of another country, a country that's at the heart of West Asia, a country that is responsible for Strait of Hormuz. Almost one-fourth of global energy oil trade passing from that narrow choke point is today almost on the verge of being captured. The leader, the theocratic leader, Mr. Ayatollah Khamenei, dead already. Who will be the new leader exactly, the supreme leader? What does the president have to say? Will this also mean that tomorrow other monarchies and other non democratic regimes in the region, like Saudi Arabia, like say for example UAE, are they also under threat? Today they may be quiet, but tomorrow are they safe? So all these questions have opened up in front of us. Of course, geopolitical is hotter than ever before right now. On that note, let's start today's discussion. The first article for the day I have not taken from the editorial. It's a front page article, and we are looking at US Israel conflict. Let's break it down with the map, and after that we shall be looking into editorial articles one by one. So welcome to the class. A quick reminder about the Telegram channel QR code. You can download it from here. And here are about total 6 articles that we are discussing. Although these are 6 articles, but these are deep, rich articles, because today we are looking at wars everywhere, not just between Israel, US versus Iran, but also we are going to look at Afghanistan, Pakistan. Today I will also make special videos on Afghanistan, Pakistan. So all that is today's agenda. Beginning from the first article for the day, Iran hits Israel back. US bases after killing off its supreme leader, Khamenei. So what's going on? You enjoy the map. I will break down the article. But before I do that, here's a quick welcome in the class, to my dear students, Sumedh, Yuvraj, Shakti, Ashish, Sharlok, Pranarathi, Pranjal, Sweetie, Ratnesh, Bhavna, I'm seeing some new names, Deepak, Madhav, Sadhna, Ashish, Bulbul, Kavish, many more code names, and Satya, Sitaram, Sweetie, Santosh, Shlok, Joham, Kritik, and who else has joined us? Ramu has come. Madhav is here. Ashish is here. Okay, Shashi is here. Vikash is here. Taithong is here. All right. Yes, today we are looking at the real West Asian fury right now. Okay, then welcome to the class, everyone. God bless you. And now let us start with the first article as other students keep joining in. So we are looking at a topic from GS Paper 2. GS Paper 2, International Relations. We are specially focusing on operations like the one I gave a question in the Telegram channel and everybody answered really well. Operation True Promise 4, Operation Roaring Lion, all these are in the news right now. Yes, completely. So we are looking at West Asia. The world is almost moving inch by inch by inch towards another possibility of a global war. What's going on? All right. So the conflict we know has become ugly now. after United States of America and Israeli airstrikes kept on happening on Iran. See, in 2025 also, it is US and Israel who had jointly attacked Iran. But last year things were a little different, because last year the attack was mainly targeted towards nuclear facilities of Iran. In the news, we have seen Fardau, the fortified underground facility. We have seen Ishfaya, we have seen Natanz. All these were under attack, but that was an exclusive attack towards nuclear artisan, nuclear material. Why? Because from the beginning, we know that Iran has been a country that has a rich capacity for uranium enrichment, something that doesn't really go well with other regions, other countries of the same area, including Saudi, including UAE. Countries like Qatar and Oman, despite trying to be neutral, are also worried about the same. And Israel and US hate the fact that Iran has enrichment capacity. That's the whole reason from the very beginning US has had a very stepmotherly attitude towards Iran. Now if you see US hypocrisy here, it's very clear. I told you Israel is a key ally of America. That's the reason why Israel has never signed the nuclear non-proliferation treaty. Israel has never said, I will put a moratorium, a ban on my nuclear enrichment. I will not make nuclear weapon. Never, never ever. But US had no problem at all. The whole world is criticizing Israel, its expansionist agenda, its total refusal to follow the two-state solution, but nobody says anything openly. Now, on the other hand, look at Iran. Iran has been one country that has tried to be very compliant. You all know about the 2015 JCPOA agreement, which Iran had clearly signed with the P5 countries of UNSC along with Germany, saying that, okay, fine, I am not going to make nuclear weapon and I will only do uranium enrichment for civilian purpose, for nuclear energy, something like India is also doing under Shanti Bill. There's nothing wrong in that. Very good, Vikash. Vikash reminds us under JCPOA, Iran was allowed about 3.67% of nuclear enrichment. Then what's the problem there? What is the problem here? The problem is US was still not convinced. Iran opened up to International Atomic Energy Agency investigation. US was still not satisfied. US and Israel kept on troubling Iran repeatedly. Today they have another demand. They say stop doing ballistic missile program. Now why will Iran take this atrocity, tell me? And since Iran said no, I am not going to stop nuclear enrichment. I am not going to stop ballistic missile program. Today you see what's going on. In the last few months, situation has become very tense. Various kind of aircraft strikers, various kind of fighter jets have all been installed by US around Iranian borders in the Arabian Sea. Very dangerous situation. Now Iran has also been worried and helpless. So what did Iran do? Iran tried to make friends in Russia and China. I told you long back, something similar to what we discussed last week. I said, Bacha, although Russia and Iran continue to support, Russia and China continue to support Iran, but mark my words, bache. If an attack happens openly, neither will Russia come nor will China come. Nobody will come in protection of Iran. Iran is practically all alone right now. It's not that countries like Saudi or Qatar want a war. They don't want a war either. They were also requesting that please don't attack Iran. We really are afraid of Iran, but at the same time, we don't want a war either. Because somewhere they have insecurity too. Saudi knows. Today, if Iran has gone, tomorrow I may be attacked as well. I am also not a democracy. I am also oil rich. I have resource curse. But see, who came to support? It's just a verbal support, right, Kundan? It is no proper military support. Neither did Russia come. Why will Russia come? Russia is already having economic loss. How much will it spend after the war with Ukraine? It's not left with much. Why will China come? The world is practically divided between China and US. China will not come. If China comes tomorrow, how will China itself justify its expansion in the South China and East China Sea? So the world is practically a bipolar world now. US on the left and China on the right. Neither will China come nor will Russia, and that has been proven now after the death of Mr. Khamenei that nobody will come. Iran will be isolated. Today, you see what's the situation. Mr. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei killed. A revered leader from Iran is no more. As Iran battles to find the right successor, create a new supreme leader, just as powerful as Mr. Khamenei, US and Israel are having a very good time. The situation has now turned into a widening regional war. Why? Because if you try to stop somebody from breathing, if you choke somebody, the person will do everything to survive. Survival instinct kicks in. Now, for Iran, what is the survival instinct right now? Iran can't do much. Iran cannot go and hit US directly. So, what will Iran do? What it has been doing for the last few days. As you and I were watching in the news, attacks at the Al Udeid, attack in Qatar, attack in Dubai, Al Jumeirah region, one of the most important commercial regions of Dubai where thousands of tourists come. We saw attacks happening in Kuwait. We saw airports are being shut. Why is Iran doing these attacks? Because that's the only thing Iran can do right now. If Iran cannot directly attack US, Iran can only attack US military bases in the West Asia where it can possibly reach out. And that's what's happening. So from just a war between US versus Iran, today it has become a practical regional war. Of course, between US and US allies and Iran on the one side, other West Asian nations are also getting roped in the war, and there's nothing they can do. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now Iran is saying only one thing. I will attack your military bases no matter which country they belong to. No matter even if it is about civilian death, but I will take revenge. Perhaps that's the only thing I can do. As Vikash explains, Oman, Bahrain, Egypt, Kuwait, every country is in danger right now. That's how a regional war becomes a more dangerous phenomena, starting from a bilateral war to a regional war already. And what is Mr. Trump saying? Mr. Trump is not guilty. That already the attack is happening. In fact, he says, he threatens Iran further. He says, dare you now try to attack other military bases that we have. Otherwise, it will not be good for you. Already US says we have killed 9 Iranian naval vessels. We have destroyed the naval headquarters of Iran. Very good question, Kritik. Let's come to that. Iran claims I have also attacked US Abraham Lincoln, and United States says no, Iran is lying. There is no attack on USS Abraham Lincoln. There is no such attack. But Iran retaliates in desperation. There are some US soldiers who have lost their life. There are civilians who have been injured or dead. In Iran, there has been a massive military loss also. But what about Israel now? Israel is an out and out ally and supporter of US. We know that. For a very long time, Israel had been waiting for this situation to come. In fact, if all the news is correct that we are hearing, it was Israel, Mr. Netanyahu, who was in fact encouraging US to go and do this attack. He was the one who was encouraging the US president to undertake this attack. So you see, Israel is deeply involved right now. In fact, Israel is the country that's carrying out non-stop strikes, non-stop, on Iranian military and leadership headquarters. And they are being targeted one by one. What about Iran? Iran says missiles have hit in Tel Aviv. Missiles have been hit in a Jewish synagogue. At the same time, there is a bilateral exchange killing civilians every day. No solution, no resolution. Israeli Defense Minister, Mr. Katz, he also promises that I will continue precision attacks. Very good, Shlok. I will continue these attacks non-stop. There is no stopping. And how is the war expanding to entire Gulf area? We all have seen in the news right now. What is going on? Iran's retaliatory attacks have hit Abu Dhabi. 2 people died. Damage near Burj Al Arab. We know there is a damage near so many countries in Kuwait, Qatar. Possibly escalation will reach many more countries in times to come. Now, if you look at Iran, which is the party, which is the organization in Iran that conducts all these attacks? Interestingly, it is called Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. It is this body that's a very powerful parallel military body in Iran. And this body is responsible for conducting external operations. How? It operates through small groups called Quds Force, and supports proxy wars. Now, very interestingly, this body called Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is not just to protect Iran from dangers, but it also finances the non-state actor of terror. Remember Ramu, Shlok, Vikash, Akhtar, we were talking about non-state actors of terror on Friday. As we were talking about Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba and the Tariq-e-Taliban Pakistan. Today you see what is happening. Again, we are talking about non-state actors of terror. Now, Iran's main parallel military group called Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, it also does this work. It very nicely finances non-state actors of terror in support of Iran. Very good. In which countries? Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen. Yemen, we all know. Northern Yemen is practically completely financed by Iran. The Houthi militants. All these are Shia militants. Financed by whom? Financed by Iran. They are NSA, but they get their money from Iran. And therefore, today, this kind of terror network is very important for Iran's own geopolitical strategy. Otherwise, who will let Iran survive? Look at the map. Iran is surrounded by enemies from all the sides. If US hates Iran, Saudi does too. There is a constant threat from countries like UAE, constant threat from countries like Qatar, constant threat from Israel. So why will Iran not maintain a terror network? It has to maintain to protect itself. That's what it does. Very good, Reshma, the axis of resistance by financing all these NSAs that Iran creates. Today, unfortunately, even countries that are quiet and peaceful. I told you in the map, Bacha, Oman, if you can see Oman on the map, Oman has been a very middle axis country. Oman never fights openly. Oman is an oil rich country, economically blessed country. Iran never engages, Oman never engages with any kind of direct war. In fact, Oman was the mediator. Oman was the mediator. Where? Between the Israel Palestine war as well, between Iran and US war as well. What a mediator Oman has been. But today you see what is going on. Oman has also been attacked. Strikes conducted by Iran have reached Oman also. Explosions were heard in so many government areas near Oman. 200 plus deaths already having taken place in Iran. Now we all understand. Recently, Vikash was mentioning Iran is already not in a very peaceful situation. Since 1979 Islamic Revolution, for the first time, Iran experienced internal protest. But the protest was against Mr. Khamenei. Today also, if you see, Iran is divided. There are people who are saying we will have a 40-day mourning period, a complete black period in history of Iran, in the support of Khamenei family. But then there are others who are celebrating, who since the beginning want Reza Pahlavi to come here and now do a very neo-democratic kind of movement is in Iran. You see, Iran also is internally fractured right now. If there are people who are mourning over Mr. Khamenei's demise, there are other people who want freedom and independence from theocracy. They are saying, let Mr. Pahlavi come. What's wrong in that? We will now work towards pro-democracy, but little do they understand that they will always have to act like a proxy colony of America. Even if Mr. Pahlavi comes, even if there is a new democracy, sorry, it will not be independence. It will be quite like the policy of subsidiary alliance and doctrine of lapse that British used to do on India. It will be quite like that. Iran will then become nothing but an economic political colony of Mr. Trump, because Mr. Reza Pahlavi is an almost pseudo-American human being. He has been raised and groomed in US after being abandoned from Iran. He will never ever support Irani sovereignty. He will be a puppet regime in the hands of Mr. Trump. So will Iran ever get independence? No. And that's a dangerous precedent, by the way. A very dangerous precedent for West Asian politics. Today, Iran has gone. Recently, Venezuela went off. Tomorrow, Greenland will 100% go. If today nobody can protect Iran, tomorrow nobody can protect Greenland either. It's very clear. See, you and I are discussing here, we may see it happening. I don't want it to happen, but this is looking very much in cards now. If Russia and Iran, if Russia and China could not protect Iran, then there is a very little possibility that NATO can protect Greenland tomorrow. Very little possibility of that. There is very little possibility that tomorrow Saudi and UAE will be safe if US starts ruling Iran. Complete distortion of Islamic unity in the region. Very dangerous for most other countries in the world, not just West Asia, but outside also. Now, why is this important for us sitting here, kilometers away? It is important because Gulf countries are the host of US military bases. The war will not end easily. Today, even if there is a temporary ceasefire, you think people of Iran will forget this atrocity? No. No matter how much democracy you impose on Iran, from inside, Iran has been a pro theocracy country. There are people who believe in religious rule. There are people who are strongly rooted in conservative religion and culture. They will not spare US easily. If not today, then tomorrow. US military bases will be attacked one by one from Iran. There is no future stability for anyone in this region, that's for sure. Second problem, there is always a risk of oil supply disruption. In the map right here, all my students are now perfect at looking at Strait of Hormuz. You all know about it. You know right here, when UAE pokes into Iran, we have the Bandar Abbas port. Unfortunately, even Chabahar has been attacked. Even Chabahar has been attacked. You know what it means for India? Lakhs of dollars getting wasted. It's a tragedy for India also. Chabahar is a port in which India had invested as a part of INSTC against Pakistan to counter the BRI of China. Today, places like Bandar Abbas and Chabahar being striked is a major loss for Indian investment too. Very dangerous. What to do? That's the ugly side of war. Now look at Strait of Hormuz. Iran has closed it. What do you mean when Strait of Hormuz gets closed? 5% and more of global oil supply gets disrupted. It's a narrow choke point. It's a threat to the shipping routes of the world. Will we experience a very high oil price now? We might. We might. This is like karmic repercussion. Karmic repercussion. US was threatening us last week. Dare you buy oil from Russia? Today, what has done? Who has done this? Who attacked? Iran. US. US tells us don't buy Russian oil. But you are the one who is attacking Iran and closing down the Strait of Hormuz. What option do we have if all the oil becomes expensive? All the oil comes from here. Reshma and Shloka saying 30% global oil supply comes from here. Absolutely. Now, if that's the dangerous situation, will we not buy from Russia? What option are we left with? What option are we left with? If oil prices become inflationary because of the close down of this small choke point, why will we not buy from Russia? Of course we will. This is US karmic repercussion. You can't stop things from happening when you don't have self-control over your own military actions. You haven't left countries like India or Brazil or Mexico or Turkey or China much choice. You haven't. By shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. Very dangerous precedent. Now, what is the geopolitical impact? There is a direct Iran-US war. Unfortunately, earlier it was a proxy war. Today it's an open war. Today the war has been expanded to entire West Asia. Now look at Indian diaspora. We know that India is a country that receives a lot of foreign remittance. All the remittance comes from the West Asian countries, Gulf countries. What about the employees that India has who are stuck in that region? What about the trade and investment deals? Let's not forget, India and UAE have signed a SEPA in 2022. That means bilateral investment in research and development in AI, semiconductors, space technology, defense technology. India and Oman also have a SEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, that was signed recently. India, Jordan have a bilateral agreement. India, Ethiopia have one. India, Saudi have a security mutual dialogue. India, UAE have a dialogue. When all these countries are under threat, is Indian population, diaspora, employee, investment not under threat? Of course it is under threat, deeply under threat. And there is also a risk of US deeper involvement in this politics now. What about energy security? India continues to import. India continues to import a lot of oil from the Gulf area. The close down of Strait of Hormuz means high oil prices, inflation. And what does it relate to? Definitely it leads to, in India, current account deficit. Already, India is one country which imports 85% of its energy need. With oil prices fluctuating and become unaffordable, it leads to a deficiency of current account. Again, trade imbalance. What are the strategic waterways that are in danger? Not just Strait of Hormuz, also critical international ports like Bandar Abbas, Chabahar Port. It will spread to many more regions, causing maritime security concern. And what about United Nations? What about United Nations? Is it not a question of completely destroying Article 2.4 of United Nations Charter, which prohibits the use of force from one country into another? What about that? Yes, absolutely. Very good, Shlok. If the attacks impact countries like Egypt, right here on the map, then will Suez Canal not get impacted? The narrow choke point that connects the Mediterranean to the Red Sea, and eventually then Gulf of Aden and everything passes into Arabian Sea. Definitely that also gets impacted in a very bad way. You see, what about UN then? Yes, a toothless lion, absolutely. So we can say beautifully that as US and Israel do Operation Lion's Roar, UN becomes a toothless lion now. No value of Article 2.4. Not at all. And Article 51 has become a joke practically, and 2.4 has been broken totally. What is Iran going through? Iran is experiencing internal political instability. No matter how much people stand united, there is a fracture going on inside between the followers of Khamenei family who support Mr. Khamenei's son to become the new ruler and those who really want once again to call Reza Pahlavi. It is a conflict between the pro-democracy vaunters and those who really want to go back to strict theocracy. But definitely, it shows that in Iran, the president is the head of the government, but the highest order of respect is always in the hands of supreme leader of Iran. Today, one supreme leader has gone. Will they have another supreme leader in the form of his son? Or whether they will now go for more power in the president, who is purely a head of the government but not the highest authority in Iran. These are certain questions that have come up today as US and Israel keep attacking Iran. It is also a case of geopolitical isolation. Today in the world, it is partnership, it is leadership that matters the most. Now here, because it's a controversial question, I have already mentioned the answer. Why? Because many students would not be sure about the second statement in that case. Okay. And today I will share all the PDFs with you. So let's not waste too much time. Absolutely, Terukula. We'll not waste too much time in this question because today I have other important current affairs videos to bring you on the war situation. So just I'm explaining, not discussing the question. No more verdict today, no more fight. Yeah, today because second is confusing. Let me explain. Yeah, that's fine. If you're still trying, very good, honestly, but still, without any discussion, let's understand the question. With reference to recent escalation involving Iran, Israel, and US, let's see these statements. Let's understand the first one first. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, we just spoke about it, plays a central role in Iran's external military operation and supports NSA. Correct. You all know it is correct. The reason is why is it correct? I just told you. In Iran, it works like a parallel army. What does it work like? Parallel army. So what does this body do? Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. It doesn't just support the protection of Iran from outsiders, it also finances. Yes, today no question answer for the first one, just explanation. That's why. First one, it doesn't only support Iranian security, it also, in fact, supports the non-state actors of terror across many other countries like Yemen. You remember Houthi rebel? Is Yemen on the map? Then we can see. Yes, Yemen is on the map. Right here. Next to Oman, you have Yemen. Have we not discussed Yemen in detail? Yes, a country that shares a massive boundary with Saudi Arabia right here, just left side of Oman. Now, don't we know what is happening in Yemen right now? Yemen is divided into two parts, northern and southern, because of war, not politically, because of war. Northern part belongs to practically the Houthi rebels. Yes, who finances these people? Iran. Shia militancy group. Shia militancy group. Houthi rebels are ruling this area. What about South? South is then further divided between Saudi Arabia and UAE in the form of UAE's Southern Transitional Council and Saudi Arabia, who wants peace in this area. Yes, Hezbollah also. Hezbollah also. Where is Hezbollah? Lebanon. Financed by Iran. Iran is financing all these terror groups. There is definitely amount of money that goes to Hezbollah, that goes to Iraqi militia, that goes to obviously Houthi and some to Hamas also. In fact, that's the reason why Israel also maintains hatred towards Iran. There is another reason here. Israel continues to say Iran is also secretly supporting the Hamas that is pro-Palestine against me, against my Israeli sovereignty. You see, Iran has spent money in this non-state terror network. Why? To maintain its stronghold. You will say why? Because it is surrounded by enemies from all the sides. Is it clear? Very good. Where is Bab al-Mandeb? Now that Santosh is asking a question, it is right here. Between Yemen and this region of Horn of Africa, right here, Bab al-Mandeb. Another very important strategic choke point of the world. Is it clear? Asir Mountain, who is mentioning? Ramu is mentioning. Where is Asir Mountain, bache? Right here, in the boundary of Saudi and Yemen. Asir Mountain. Is it clear? Okay, so no competition for the first one. Only we need to understand. First is correct. Second, I just explained. President of Iran is the head of the state and the highest religious authority? No. In Iran, the president is the head of the government, yes, but not the highest religious authority, because highest religious authority is the supreme leader of Iran. Example, the man who was just murdered, Mr. Khamenei. Today, his son might become the next supreme leader, but he is the utmost religious authority. Why? Because Iran is a traditional theocracy, a country ruled by religious leaders. So, second is not correct. Third is correct. Yes. Just now, Reshma confirmed, Shlok confirmed, another of my dear students confirmed. Strait of Hormuz. We are looking at the map. It is a strategic maritime choke point with about nearly 1/4, 30% of all the global supply chain, trade, oil, everything comes from here. It passes from here and then reaches to countries like India, China, South Asia. So, very important, right? Today, if it closes down, what happens? How will we get oil? Being in Eastern Hemisphere, prices will increase. So, Strait of Hormuz is very important. Highly expected question in UPSC prelims also, highly expected in the mains also. Yes? Clear to everyone? So, is it simple to understand? That answer is A? Naturally. Yes? No problem. Sometimes it is good to not have competition, just understanding. Clear? Entire politics is clear? Between Saudi, Yemen, between UAE, Yemen, between Israel, Yemen, Iran's role in Yemen, the non-state actor of terror, Strait of Hormuz, Bab al-Mandeb, clear to everyone? Today in Telegram, I'm going to ask you a question on Strait of Hormuz. It's a hint I'm giving you. It's a map-based question. It's going to be a very challenging question for those who will not understand map, and those who will get it in a second. But no cheating. You will answer that honestly without looking at the map directly. The map should be there in the back of your mind. At 2 a.m. also, if alarm rings and I ask you where is the map, close your eyes, you should be able to tell me this map. Yes. Okay. Okay. Next article for the day. This is editorial. Let's do little bit editorial. Again, we will go to controversy only. Don't worry. I know students are very excited about the conflict right now. I was getting so many emails yesterday. When are we covering the war? When are we covering the war? I said, Bacha, I'm not a media person. I will come and cover it on Monday. Relax, okay? We will talk about the war. Okay, editorial. 16th Finance Commission misses and concern. All right. So we are looking at GS paper. Very good, Terukula. GS paper 3. We are looking at tax distribution. We are looking at the entire question of finance commission, vertical and horizontal dimension of dissolution of taxes. We are looking at, what are we looking at? What are we looking at? We are looking at the recommendations of Finance Commission, Articles 280, Articles 281. I'll give you in the Telegram channel, I promise. Just a little patience. I'll give you the mail ID. Don't worry. At least 2 months before the exam, I'll give you. Okay? Okay? All right. Now, if this is GS paper 3 Indian economy, let us see what has happened. We should have had, right, Shlok? Everyone was saying that. You should have had a special war session. No problem. We'll do it today. Okay. Dimension, because we are looking at the vertical and horizontal dimension of devolution. We are looking at one side of tax devolution, my dear Ramu. Okay, well said. All right, what has happened? Let's focus. Now, the 16th Finance Commission is here, right? It had more flexibility actually. The 16th Finance Commission had more flexibility. It had more flexibility as compared to the previous finance commissions in terms of reference. They were all based strictly on constitutional provisions. At the same time, it also had been given more liberty to decide how much share of total divisible pool of tax it wants to give the states. Does it really want to finance for the revenue deficit of the states? But the 16th Finance Commission has acted rather conservative. States are not happy with the performance. States are not happy with the recommendation because the Finance Commission of 16th tenure, that is, just like any other finance commission, it mainly deals with two things. One is the vertical devolution, as Ramu says. The other is the horizontal devolution. Indeed, covered in Article 280 and Article 281 of the Indian Constitution. We are looking at how money is shared through the Finance Commission recommendation between the centre government of India and the state governments of India very clearly. Absolutely, Reshma and Vikash, very good. Now, seeing that, what is it about vertical devolution? The money that comes from center to the states in a vertical movement. What is so problematic there? Let's talk about it. Now, we must understand that during the 14th Finance Commission, something revolutionary had happened. Because the 14th Finance Commission had increased states' share in the central taxes from 32% to 42%. That was a major jump. Yes, 14th Finance Commission, 32 to 42% increase. Later, slightly it was reduced to 41% to accommodate Jammu Kashmir after the reorganization of the state happened. But today, what has happened? In the 16th Finance Commission, the central government has reduced the fiscal space for states further. Why? Because there are many states in India who are requesting consistently that please give us at least 45 to 50% of the total share of divisible pool of tax. We need money. Majority of states are having to depend on debt and loan and borrowing. They cannot finance their revenue deficit. What is revenue deficit? The amount of money you fall short of as you manage your day-to-day administration. But then what happened? Unfortunately, the 16th Finance Commission did not listen to this demand. If it did not decrease, it did not increase the total share of divisible pool of tax either, and it has once again been fixated at 41%. Why? Because center says, I want more money. I want more financial stability to be able to pay for defense, to be able to pay for welfare, and to be able to handle disaster management, national priorities, and that's why the government today believes in expanding the capex expenditure, capital expenditure, not exactly bother about the revenue expenditure. Yes, that is what the Central Finance Commission has said. But here is one caveat to that. Here is one thing that the government has done. What has it done? To compensate the lack of increase in divisible pool, the central government has told the states that what we will do is that we will now include a larger part of the cess and surcharge in the normal taxation so that you can also get some share from that. Now, this brings a very important question to us. What do you even mean by cess and surcharge? Some students might be wondering, what is cess and surcharge all about? So let us focus here a little bit. Now, let's understand that whatever revenue the center government gets as a part of its tax collection, it should share it with the states. Obviously, that is only what is vertical devolution under Finance Commission. But there are two types of taxes which are not to be shared with the states. Very good, Sitaram, Terukula, Shlok, Apex, Vikash. We are not supposed to share it with the states. What are these, bache? These are called cesses and surcharges. So let me quickly explain what do you mean by that. Let's look at cess. What is cess for the new students exactly? What is cess? Cess is the tax that is levied for a particular objective like education, health, or infrastructure. Unfortunately, for a very long time, central government does this very smart strategy. It keeps on increasing cess and surcharge. It can finance its own expenditure with that because that is not meant to be shared with the states, and states keep complaining that you simply increase cess and surcharge. That means your share of tax increases, our doesn't. That's very unfair. That has happened this time also. Cess means tax levied for a special purpose. Education, health, or infrastructure. Then what is surcharge? What is surcharge, bacha? Surcharge is called tax on tax. Surcharge. How do we explain it? Surcharge is an additional tax on an existing taxation. Very good, Reshma. Which article, now this is important, very good question. Which article of the Constitution allows the Parliament to levy a surcharge on certain union taxes? Good question. Yes, who knows that? Bacha, which article of the Indian Constitution allows the Parliament to levy a surcharge on certain category of union taxes? This is Article 271. Very good shlok. Article 271 allows the Parliament to have a surcharge, an additional tax on an existing union tax. But now here is the catch situation, catch 21. Although surcharge has a legal constitutional basis, because Article 271 allows for that. It allows for the Constitution. It allows in the Constitution, very good, each one of you, very good, everyone. It allows the Parliament to have an additional surcharge on a union tax, but unfortunately, the revenue that you earn from surcharge goes entirely to the center. It is not meant to be shared by the states of India. Typically, where do you see surcharge? Example, surcharge is levied on income tax. It is put on corporate tax. It is usually imposed on higher income categories. Now, in the prelims, one question can come like that. It can come on Article 271. It can come on the fact that are surcharges levied on higher income categories? Yes. Example, certain income taxes and corporate taxes. Now, what happens? Unfortunately, when the central government keeps increasing cess and surcharge without justification, its own income keeps on increasing very nicely. But that is not meant to be shared with the states. So states are not getting any advantage here. That's one objection states have on vertical devolution. Another objection states have is that some of the recommendations that were put in front of the 16th Finance Commission were never accepted by the government at all. Why? Because what are they saying? They are saying we are still retaining states' share at 41% of the divisible pool of taxes. Agreed. We have not decreased it to 40 or 39, but we have not also increased it, right? 41%, same like previous one. Nothing has changed. Today there is a big question. Then what do you do with so much surcharge and cess? That is your additional income. Explain that. That doesn't go to states. But there is no explanation coming from the center. In fact, this time the center government has done a grand bargaining. What is this bargaining, bache? Central government has played smart. It has done a big bargaining with the states. Grand bargain. What is this grand bargain all about? Center government has said, okay, don't worry so much. I can do one thing for you. I can slowly merge certain cesses into regular taxes. Certain amount, not all, but certain amount of cess I will integrate in regular taxes so that you get a share from that. But the catch here is that states must accept slightly smaller share in the larger total divisible pool. How will it help them? States are saying, what kind of bargaining is that? You will open up certain cess to taxation, regular taxation. That means it can be shared with me, with us. But you are saying you will reduce the state's total share in the divisible pool. Again, we are not getting any benefit. Another problem. The Finance Commission has also declined, refused to provide for revenue deficit grants. What are revenue deficit grants? The simple difference between capital and revenue. Capital deals with bigger investment, asset, capex. Revenue deals with day-to-day administration expenses. Yes, whether it's about the new pension scheme, whether it's about the defense budget, whether it's about the Finance Commission. Now, Indian government strongly believes in capital investment, not revenue investment, not revenue expenditure. Therefore, today the government has said, I am not going to give any revenue deficit grants. If the states cannot finance for their administrative deficiency in money, let them manage on their own. Please learn some fiscal discipline. Learn how to collect taxes properly. Learn how to impose them properly. Spend in a smart way. I am not going to take care of your day-to-day administrative expenditure. I am not financing for that. What is revenue deficit grant? Earlier, if a state used to fall short of its total revenue, if its administrative expense increases its income, the central government used to come and provide that help. Today it says, I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. It did not even recommend a state specific or sector specific grant. Now, this is not good for states. The problem is, although 41% share in divisible pool looks very big, but in reality, if you see the previous record of 14th and 15th Finance Commission, it comes down to 32.7%. It falls as low as 32.7%, even lower than the previous level. The Finance Commission always estimates the GDP growth. It is not a reality. The Finance Commission never understands that GST has also resulted in a reduction of income for the states. You must understand that also. Yes? Now, why does it cause so much problem? Because it's a vertical mismatch. It's an imbalance between central revenue power and state executive responsibilities, and that's not correct. That's not correct. Now, what about here the horizontal devolution problem? We have just seen the vertical problem. What about the horizontal dimension? What is horizontal? Horizontal is when you decide out of the total divisible pool of tax, if 41% is going, 41% is going to different states, how will it be distributed? How will it be decided that which state will get how much money? That's the main problem here. So what has the government done today? The 16th Finance Commission has introduced a new criteria, which Reshma was just talking about. That is based on GSDP, Gross State Domestic Product. GSDP. This is the new criteria. That means with the state which contributes more money to the total India's GDP, who performs very well, will be a state who will be now rewarded under this new GSDP category. But there is a confusion here also. On what basis are you deciding GSDP? There are two ways you can determine good performance of a state. One is called production efficiency. That is about economic output. Is the economic output of the state good? Or are you talking about fiscal efficiency? How good, how well can a state collect tax and maintain fiscal discipline? What are you talking about? That's also confusion, right? You are saying I will reward states for good economic performance, but what kind of performance? Performance in collecting taxes properly, fiscal discipline, or performance in resulting in a higher GDP or income? That's the problem. This is the confusion right now. What are you trying to reward really? Economic output is dependent on market forces, migration pattern, industrialization. But in India, industrialization is not smooth. There are certain states in southern India, you look at Tamil Nadu, you look at Maharashtra, look at Andhra, Karnataka, Gujarat. All these have a high level of industrialization. They are much more urbanized. And what about Bihar, Uttar Pradesh? What about Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand? There is no match in the level of industrialization and urbanization. Then how can you reward one state over the other? That means benefit will always go. GSDP criteria will always benefit the developed state. They will never benefit the undeveloped or the lesser developed states. What about technical adjustment? Now, the central government has not been fair here also. Rather than using GSDP criteria directly, the Finance Commission says, I will use its square root. I will use its square root to reduce excessive advantage to the richer states. Now, why will richer states not argue here? They will say, what is the use then? If you are doing a square root of my contribution and then giving me the reward under GSDP, I am not even getting as much as I am earning. These are certain challenges. Then there are other challenges also, such as you are not looking at the states who are able to collect taxation much better. You are not rewarding fiscal discipline. This is not consistent because Commission talks about rewarding efficiency. But what about the states who collect taxes really well, who have maintained fiscal discipline, you are not looking into their performance. So which states are gaining and which are losing? Now, if you look at the states which have had a major loss, these are Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, plus many other states in Northeast India. Smaller states like Goa, the richer states have gained, but they have not also gained properly. For them also, the gain has been very uneven rather than equal. But there is another concern here, and that concern is about equalization grant. Very important. In Finance Commission, we must also talk about equalization grant. What do you mean by equalization grant? What is this? Now listen carefully, bache. Equalization grant are financial transfers given to the poor states to help them for providing minimum comparable level of public services like health, education, infrastructure at a reasonably comparative tax rate. This is called equalization grant. But today, under the new devolution formula, we have not provided much equalization grant also. We have not understood that every state has its own financial limitation, and we have not respected that. Now, one student was recently talking about Article 275. When I was talking about surcharge, today I want everyone to remember. Surcharge was Article 271, tax on tax. Now we are looking at Article 275. This is about equalization grants. What is Article 275 of the Indian Constitution? Under Article 275, the Finance Commission can provide state-specific grants and equalization grants, totally called as grants in aid. What is aid? Help, support given to some poor states for health, education, sanitation, or any other infrastructure. These are state-specific grants. State-specific. But 16th Finance Commission has dropped revenue gap grant. Revenue deficit will not be financed now. Avoiding equalization grant also. So therefore, what is the benefit to poor state? None. No such benefit is happening to poor state. Yes, very good, Shlok. These are unconditional support systems. Now, 16th Finance Commission is not doing them. So what is the core constitutional angle covered here? Article 280, Finance Commission itself. Article 270, the distribution of tax, horizontal and vertical. Article 271, surcharge, tax on tax, which can be levied by the central government. Article 275, equalization grant and grant in aid given to state for specific purpose, state-specific grant. Today, the commission is not doing that either. The worst thing is that the central government has also reduced its welfare expenditure. Biggest example, Manrega to VBGRAM. Rather than covering 100% of welfare schemes, central government is now doing only 40%. That is so insufficient. Even when you look at new education policy, or even when you look at models like PM Shri scheme, hardly the government is ready to spend on welfare. The government tells states, you spend on welfare. In a way, it is good because many states will now not do freebie culture, like the Mukhya Mantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana. In that, you are giving lakhs of crores of rupees for free to women to get votes. That tendency will definitely be controlled now. Some financial discipline will come, but it is not good for the poor states. When you totally refuse welfare, the state governments will also not provide for welfare because after all, even they do not have so much money. Yes? Now quickly let's look at the question. If the D statement is not easily, I hope you can see it easily. It's a little bit on the downside of the screen. For those who are having difficulty, I will write D here. It is 1, 2, 3. Okay? In case you are having a difficulty in reading. All right? Is it clear to everyone? Totally. That's a very valid point, Shlok. Reshma is already answering. Can we have a look at the question? With reference to Terukula answer, 16th Finance Commission consider these statements. 1. It reduces the state's share in the divisible pool of central taxes below 41%, citing fiscal stress at the central level. Okay. Second, it recommends a grand bargain under which union could merge a big portion of cess and surcharge into divisible pool. In return, the states will adopt a smaller share in the new expanded pool. And 3, it strengthened fiscal discipline criteria by increasing its weight in the horizontal devolution formula, Which of these are valid? Initiated from Reshma and Terukula, and then Vikash, Ashish, Akhtar, very good. Kavish, Jonam, Shlok, Sitaram, Santosh, Bhavna, Apex, Shinobi, Anup, Rajneshwar, Sweetie, very good. Very good. What about Bulbul? What about Ramu? Kaushik, Madhav? Kundan explains also very nicely. Elvin also answers. What about Eric? Eric is not there with us today. Kojumba is not there. Prasad is not there. Zahir is not there. Yuvraj answers. Okay. So then I don't see any split in the answer here. I think the answer is pretty much well done. So big round of applause to everyone who chose to answer. Very well performed. Of course, first is not correct. It has not decreased, not increased. It is stable. Third. What about the third one? Is third correct? Is the third correct? Totally not. Totally not correct. Completely incorrect. Second is correct, yes. That's the grand bargain we are looking at. Okay, fine. Center tells the states, I will increase, I will merge cess and surcharge. You had a problem, I will merge it. But you will take a smaller share in the divisible pool. So states are saying there's no benefit here. No benefit here at all. Very good, Kabilan. Keena, Yuvraj, right? So second is correct, making B the right answer. Hope there's no confusion. In case there is, do let me know. Now, third article is also editorial. Let's quickly do it, Bachi. What does it say? We are looking at an imperial war. Once again, the war situation. GS paper 2, international relations. What has happened here, Bacha? This article is strongly criticizing US and Israel's attack on Iran. Article calls it an example of reckless, ruthless, unilateral use of force in international relations. What's the core argument here? The article is warning that the war against Iran was a war of choice. It is not a preemptive war. So the most important concept here is the preemptive war. What do you mean by preemptive war? What do you mean by preemptive war? What does it mean? Preemptive means to prevent somebody from attacking you. Preemptive means in defense, in anticipation, in self-defense. That tomorrow somebody will attack me. So before he attacks, I will go and attack that person because I suspect he will attack me beforehand. So is this a preemptive war? Is it a preemptive war? Today, US, Israel, UAE, UK, everyone says it is a preemptive war. The war was done on Iran to prevent Iran from attacking US and its air bases first. But that's a wrong thing to say. It's a fake propaganda. This is not a preemptive war. Sorry, it is not. It is a war of choice. It is not a defensive war. It has nothing to do with self-defense. It is not preemptive either. Iran never threatened. Yes, please, Yuvraj. Feel free, bacha. Don't have to ask. It's your platform. You can ask as many questions. So, why is it not a preemptive war? Why? Because the war was launched by US President Mr. Donald Trump on encouragement from Israeli Prime Minister Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu. The attack has killed Iran's supreme leader Mr. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and many other leaders along with him. The writer of this article therefore says this is called Imperial thuggery. It is like a thug act. What is a thug act? Which means using power unilaterally by breaking down international law, a rogue act, an illegal action that's taken by one country against another. And sorry to say, it is not a preemptive war. There was no evidence that Iran was about to attack. In fact, Iran was saying, I am ready for negotiation. I am ready for Oman to mediate a talk of ceasefire in Switzerland, Geneva. Iran has proven its credential. In 2015, Iran had signed the JCPOA with P5 countries and Germany and allowed inspection by International Atomic Energy Agency. Iran had promised, I will not increase uranium enrichment by more than 3.6%. After all these promises, after being a part of nuclear non-proliferation treaty also, Iran has been attacked. Despite the fact that Iran was open for nuclear negotiation, a deal was reportedly ready to be signed between these countries, and suddenly US attacks. How can we call it preemptive? From what angle is it looking like preemptive? Now, don't we see the actions of American President Mr. Trump? Don't we see that? Iran was a country that signed JCPOA. Who broke the JCPOA? In 2018, it was Mr. Trump who unilaterally broke away from JCPOA, saying that I don't believe in this nuclear deal. So why? And now why is he creating that fake drama of asking Iran to sign another nuclear deal? Then why did he withdraw from JCPOA? What was the logic of that withdrawal? Nobody understood till date. The current war is much more dangerous than just a territorial war. People are saying this is more dangerous than the past wars that used to be fought over territories, because this is not a war of territory. Sorry. It is not even a war of nuclear action. No. It is a war of clear cut colonization. It is a new kind of imperialism known as oil imperialism. And that is why it is very, very dangerous, because it defeats the purpose of all the United Nations related agencies that were made after the Second World War. It has no logic, no explanation at all. Is it a risk of regional and global, you can say, proliferation? Of course it has. Why? Because the war is seeing missile and drone attack. The war is seeing targeting of US and Israeli military bases in entire West Asia. The war has seen the closure of Strait of Hormuz. Why is this crucial? Because we know that Strait of Hormuz right here in front of you, bacha. It handles a major share of global oil trade. My students just confirmed 30%. Closure could mean oil price hike, lack of oil supply, global inflation, impact on India, that's a major oil importer. We know India is the second country that buys Russian oil in a heavy number after China. Even today, and despite US sanctions, we are still the second largest buyer of Russian oil. Having said that, we still buy a lot of oil from the Gulf countries, from the West Asian countries. Now, yesterday, during one of the Zoom not class, it was just a group discussion interaction, one student was asking, entire West Asian or Gulf oil is called bitter oil because that is rich in sulfur content. Wrong presumption. Wrong presumption. Texas oil is sweet oil. Russian oil is sour, bitter sulfur oil, thick viscosity, but oils are in different categories. It is not just about bitter or sweet. It is about light. How can you classify the crudes? Crudes can be classified as light, heavy, bitter, sweet. Entire West Asian is not sweet also. Entire West Asian is not sulfury also. Some countries have it very sulfurish and some have it slightly sweet. It's a separate topic. We can talk about it later. But it is a mix of it. And India imports a good quantity of West Asian oil. Agreed? It's expensive as compared to Russia, but cheaper as compared to US oil. It's slightly better quality as compared to Russian oil. It is more expensive to transport as compared to Russian oil. But still, it's a major source of security for India. With the closing of Strait of Hormuz, what will India do? It also impacts Indian oil supply. What about international rules? US and Israel are acting outside international protocol. The use of force is violation of United Nations Charter Article 2.4. What does 2.4 say? UN Charter Article 2.4 prohibits the use of force or an open threat from one country to another. But here is the catch. There is another article in United Nations Charter called Article 51 that says it is an inherent right of every country to do self-defense if an armed attack happens. After an armed attack happens, if one country attacks the other, you can strike back for self-defense by informing United Nations Security Council. But The catch here is that Article 51 does not allow preemptive attacks. Sorry. It says you can act in retaliation if somebody attacks you for self-defense, for by clarifying it to UNSC. But you cannot do it as a preemptive defense. Preemptive is not a logical sovereign principle under this. What US is doing is illogical. Assuming that somebody will attack me, I can't attack them. This is crazy. This is insanity. It doesn't have any legal permission under Article 51. Plus, International Criminal Court is involved here. There's one question I want to ask you. When International Criminal Court, a body that can issue individual arrest warrant, unlike the ICJ, International Court of Justice, that's a UN body. If ICC has that power, it already released an arrest warrant against Mr. Netanyahu long back, against Mr. Putin long back. Because of that, Mr. Putin could not come for G20 summit in Johannesburg. Why is there no proper arrest warrant against Mr. Trump? Why is there no proper arrest warrant against Mr. Trump? Why is there? Bacha, this is about United Nations Charter. United Nations Charter, Article 51. Indian Constitution, Article 51 is Directive Principles of State Policy. Right now, we are looking about United Nations Charter. Yes? Why no arrest warrant? Yes, Reshma, is that the reason? Because he's not a member? Or could there be any other reason? Shlok says, why are you even asking this question? They can't. After this, what can I ask? They can't actually. That is called the global power. That is one of the smartest answers I have ever got for this question. Because they can't. Okay. Now, having said that, Bacha, there is no proper protocol of preemptive attacks. Okay, let's understand that. Now, what is the argument here about freedom? US supports authoritarian regimes everywhere in the world. But US says, I'm the biggest democracy in the world. So what kind of democracy are you, sir? You believe in democracy. You say, I'm the largest democracy. But at the same time, your new policy of MAGA, Make America Great Again, doesn't even prove that you're a democracy anymore. What you are doing is a strategic domination in all the countries that are oil rich. So are you into oil imperialism? Or are you really someone who believes in maintaining law and order in the world? Now, that's a question that people are asking, and they will ask because everyone is shattered when it comes to global protocols. I mean, today Iran has been attacked. Tomorrow, there's no guarantee Saudi or say Qatar or UAE or any other country is safe for that matter. No, there's no certainty there. No certainty there. And very well answered, Reshma. You're not a member. We can't give you a warrant. But then, even if we give you a warrant, could they do anything against Mr. Putin or Mr. Netanyahu? No, they couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything earlier as well. Okay. Now, quickly the question. With reference to the use of force in international relations, consider these statements. 1. Under UN Charter, a country can lawfully use force against the other only after obtaining prior approval from UN General Assembly. Good. Second, preemptive self-defense in anticipation is explicitly, clearly defined and clearly permitted in Article 51 of UN Charter. And 3, the closure of international strait used for global navigation may have implications under international maritime law and may affect global trade. Very easy question if you ask me. Which of these are valid answers? Who began answering? Terukula, followed by Ashish, Sumed, Kavish, Krishna, Madhav, Akhtar. Very good. Sitaram, Sadhana, Yuvraj, Apex, Shinobi, Urupam. And what about Reshma, Ramu, Vikash? Reshma answers. Ramu also answers. Joham, Anoop. Okay. Rajnishwar. There is no split Shlok, you are right. Kundan and Rajnishwar also answer. Well done. Well done. What about Sadhana? Did I see Sadhana's answer? I have seen. Okay. Good. So then definitely C is the right answer. Correct. Very good, Reshma, for explaining. Third is the only valid answer. First is invalid. You can't even attack another country. And in case you are doing it under Article 51, of course, Ramu. Very good doubt there. Now, we are saying you can take permission from UN Assembly. Now, sorry to say, first thing is you can't even attack. You can't even use force against one country, against another country. It's not even allowed. In case, assuming that you are doing it logically under Article 51 just to protect yourself after you have been attacked, then you have to take permission from United Nations Security Council, not UN General Assembly. So it is not correct. Both paths are wrong. First, you can't even attack. Second, presuming you have taken permission, then you take it from UNSC, not General Assembly. So it's not correct. Second, totally wrong. There is no such provision only of preemptive attack. So what US is justifying right now is invalid. It is only under self-defense, that too as a retaliation, not as a preemptive attack. So third is correct. Third is totally correct. Today Hormuz is closed. Tomorrow if the war continues, Bab al-Mandeb will be closed. Tomorrow if Mr. Sheepy thinks I will also jump in the war, then Malacca will also go. If it spreads to Egypt, Suez also go. If it further expands as much as North America, entire nations also get involved, then maybe Panama also goes, and then all of us will walk or take a bicycle. No car, no bus, nothing will get, because every oil availability will go away. That's very dangerous. Quickly, the next article. This is slightly scientific, GS paper 3, Science and Tech. I will try to summarize it in as easy manner as I can. Yuvraj finds it such an exaggerated fear that I am mongering on the channel. Yeah, it is called fear mongering, what I just did. No, that's not going to happen. Only Hormuz is closed right now. Okay. No, Shlok. Interesting, but that's a catch there. Say, for example, India did Operation Sindoor, okay? Under Article 51. So, India did it because already we were attacked under Pahalgam. So, we had to retaliate. And that is allowed under 51. But India had also informed UNSC before India did that. India did not do it unilaterally. When India launched the Operation Sindoor, we had already informed UNSC and done. It's not like we did it without informing. That you can't do. You must also inform the global agencies. Otherwise, it will be considered as an act of war. You need to justify Article 51, no? Against 2-4 abuse. Okay. Quickly, the next one. Missile interceptors in US-Iran war. Now, the war is going on. War is a reality. Till yesterday, till Friday, I was thinking yesterday till Friday, I was talking to my students, war will happen, war might happen. But you see today what happened. We are already living in that prospect of war. You see, that is the danger right now. So, what about integrated air defense missile system? A little focus here, everyone. The new conflict between US-led coalition. It is a proxy war, of course. It is also a coalition-based war. Yes, you have US on the one side, but US is not alone. This time, US has the support of UAE, countries like United Kingdom, and of course, its major ally, Israel. On the other hand, you have Iran all alone, unfortunately, with a very little, that too vocal, that too very little psychological support that's coming from Russia and China. Maybe from Russia, at least proper weapons are coming. Kamikaze drones are coming. Interceptors are coming. But from China, just moral support is coming. Carry on, bro. I'm there with you. But sorry, I can't support you. That's the kind of sentiment China has given. So Iran is kind of very cornered and very isolated right now. Yes? What's the question, Bache? Was there a question, Ramu? It is the same thing, Bacha. It is the same thing. When you ask, when you take permission, it means you are informing UNSC. Now here also, it is like a culture lag that you are sort of trying to, question into. See, for example, I do Operation Sindoor. I highlight Article 51. I send an article, I inform. Okay? I inform UNSC that I am going to take that step. But the thing is, I am not going to wait for any written approval from UNSC. It's a war situation. I am going to launch that war. So typically informing is believed to be consent here. Yes. But then in case later after I attack, UNSC says no, it is invalid, then it becomes a separate issue of investigation. But no country typically waits for that kind of a permission letter. Sometimes later you can be criticized also. Sometimes you will be ratified saying that fine, what you did was okay. So it is never a very straightforward thing that you put an application, you wait, sir, give me an answer. Answer comes, okay, now I will attack. It doesn't work like that. War situations are typically very, very dynamic, right? So you don't exactly wait for a written permission. If you've put in an application, you've informed them, then I think that's considered pretty much enough. Later, probably they may reinterpret your action. That's a separate story. Okay, is that clear to everyone? Is that clear to everyone? Usually that doubles up as a legal information, but even if you see UNSC, it's a body dominated by the West. Come on. Highly dominated by US. So in case India would wait that, okay, I'll get a written approval, and in the meantime, US puts in a kind of a veto there. I'm gone. I'm gone. I want to launch the operation. I'm waiting for the written approval. In the meantime, Mr. President comes and puts a veto. No, you can't attack because Pakistan is my friend. Then I'm sitting. So ultimately, it becomes about culture lag, bacha. Yeah, there is no exact applicable protocol, but that's a very smart question, actually. Very good, very interrogative. That's the spirit you should have as a future officer. Very, very good. Right? So usually these do become controversial. So if you look at India's case study, India believes, supports, India got support from Israel also. That, yeah, what I did was valid. But till date, countries are making fun. Till date, Turkey, till date, Pakistan, till date, US also. Till date, China also says India did a bad thing. India had no right to invoke 51. UNSC did not even say it was 51. Then what? What do we do? Should we not have done? Of course we'll do. It's a matter of national security. So these are slightly overlapping jurisdictions. Okay? Wonderful. Coming back to this article now, Bacha, let's focus slightly scientific in nature. The war is going on. Two coalitions, US supported by UAE, UK, Israel. On the other hand, you have Iran all alone right now. Now, what's happening here? For the first time, we are seeing that in this conflict, all the countries are activating their most advanced weapon systems. But we are seeing another thing. We are seeing a regional air defense network that is operational here. This is for the first time after the 12-day war of 2025. Now, what is the 12-day war? Now, don't ask me when did this happen, where was I? Come on, you were in the class with me. 12-day war. When US and Israel had attacked Iran's nuclear facility, bache, Fardao, Natanz, Ishfaya, Bushehr, all of that. That's the 12-day war. But that time, nobody was trying to invoke the regional defense network. Nobody. But for the first time in this ongoing war, we are seeing dangerous things happening like missile defense system, interceptor system. So we must understand how do these work, and we must understand what is the cost involved in all this kind of warfare. What is missile defense? What is missile defense, bacha? As we are talking about the current ongoing war, roaring lion. What is this going on? Missile defense system is typically designed to detect incoming missiles. To detect incoming missiles. How do you detect? By using satellite and radar systems. Very good, Ashish. Last year, when US was destroying Iran's nuclear equipment, it was using the B-2 bomber technology. Brilliant, Sumit. Wonderful, bache. Now, right now, they are all using missile defense system. What do you do with that? It is a kind of system. Yes, don't get confused. We are not talking about the original Israel-Palestine Six-Day War, in which Israel captured Sinai, Gaza, and Golan. We are not talking about that. We are talking about the current war right now. Roar, lions roar. Now, today's war in which Mr. Khamenei died. Everyone is using missile defense. What is missile defense? Designed to detect incoming missiles. How do they work? How does interceptor system work? Now, what's the basic process here? The basic process is missile is shot and now you are trying to intercept or stop that missile. How will you do that? Radar will detect the incoming missile. Radar will detect the incoming missile. Computer calculates the trajectory in which direction is missile happening. Then there is engagement control station which decides exactly when to fire the shot, and interceptor missile is then launched. There are two things interceptor missile will do. Either it will just go near the target and explode. These were the older systems. You just go near the incoming missile and do a blast so that the missile is destroyed. This is an old archaic system. Today, the modern system is more advanced. You don't explode, you directly hit. And this is known as a technology called hit to kill technology. I repeat, it is known as hit to kill technology, in which you directly hit the incoming missile. Very good. Like yesterday, Iran was launching kamikaze given by Russia to Iran, a good friend of Iran. So now it is hit to kill. Modern systems are very fast. They are very precise. They can exactly hit the target right on its head. Which are the major systems that the world is using right now? I have written it in the PDF so that you can read it later on. So let's do 2-3 examples. Look at US, most advanced. Patriot system, THAAD system, You have the SM-3 and SM-6 naval bases. What about Israel system? Very advanced. Arrow 3, Arrow 2, David Sling, Iron Dome, the most famous, Iron Beam, the laser beam system. But UAE also has its systems. UAE has certain systems like the 360-degree radar, very famously used by UAE. Then UAE also has another very important one called South Korean Cheonjung 2. All these are foreign technologies. South Korean created Cheonjung 2. This is the 360-degree radar that UAE is using. But if I ask you, what has changed since last year, 12-day war, to today, the real big regional war? In 2025, last year, when Israel and US attacked Iran's nuclear plants, Iran had fired 500 plus ballistic missiles and 1,000 drones in last year, in 25. Stockpile of US and Israeli interceptors got depleted because of that. Now, do you know what is this called? What is this called? Countries like US, Israel, and UAE have advanced interceptor systems. But how much will they have? How much will they have? What if you do a technology in which their interceptor systems only become small? They are not able to compete. This is the strategy of Iran. It is known as saturation attack strategy. Maybe I've written it here also. No, I haven't written it. I'll write it. Saturation attack strategy. Yeah, the intercontinental ballistic missile system. Very good. Very good, Shlok and Vikash. Now we are talking about saturation attack technique. Very good. Overwhelming system. What do you mean by that? Iran demonstrated this last year. As US and Israel came and attacked Iran, nuclear plants, Fardao and Natanz and Ishfaya, what did Iran do? Iran started firing 500 ballistic missile and 1,000 drones. One day what happened? The total stockpile of US and Israeli interceptors became depleted. It got over because production capacity is always limited. How will you produce so much? These take time. Example, the THAAD and the Patriot system of US, they can take 1.5 to 2 years to be ready. Modern warfares have a problem. They consume missiles faster than industries can produce missiles. Same thing is happening in India also. If you look at privatization in the defense system, HAL and DRDO are handling most of the production. Yes, recently our president did a sortie in Prachand. Light combat weapons these are. But the problem is, demand is too much, supply is not enough. It can take years for supply to get fulfilled properly. Yes, because there are cheap drones available, and Iran is a master of that. Iran does this warfare known as saturation attack strategy. You do so much drone attack, you launch cheap missiles and cheap drones, and you can make them easily. Cheap missile and cheap drone doesn't take time, but interceptor systems like Patriot, THAAD, and Cheonjung take time. They can take 2 years to get ready. But cheap missile and cheap drones can take months to weeks. They will be ready very easily. So what happens now? This is high intensity warfare, and Iran does this technology. Saturation attack. You keep manufacturing cheap drones and cheap missile and keep shooting them at your opponents one by one after the other. It is known as overwhelming swarm attack. Attack in heavy number. Even if the interceptor is very good in terms of technology, it will not be economic to use it. How much will you waste your interceptor system? You will use 10, they will fire 500. You will use 500, they will fire 1,000. All your money will get depleted. You can't fulfill and you can't manufacture economies of scale in real time when it comes to these advanced interceptor system. What's the result? Even if your interceptors are very good, say for example Patriot or THAAD or Arrow, they are very good, agreed, but the problem is they will take millions of dollars. Attacking so many drones could not be accomplished in small time. That's the problem. Now typically a Patriot interceptor will cost $4 million per shot. Shocking. $4 million per shot. And Iranian drones are much cheaper. So no matter how much you intercept, financially it is unsustainable. This is the key modern warfare lesson that economic sustainability matters more than technologically strong missile defense system. And how effective are these defense systems, by the way? Not 100%. Look at Israel's Iron Dome, the very famous Iron Dome. It is only 80 to 97% effective against simple rockets. Patriot of US. The performance is very variable. Sometimes it performs really well, but sometimes in the case of intense threats, it doesn't have that much result. Similarly, there are others like GMD, US ground based mid course defense. Only 55% success rate has been proven in certain tests, but cheap missile and cheap drone are very fast. They can be made easily, they can be made within days. They are equipped with decoy systems. They are launched in massive numbers like swarm attack technique. And Iran has a major defense capacity, let's not forget that. Whether it's from Chinese support or Russian support, Iran has techniques like the Balvar 370C system, Russian Tor M1 availability, mobile air defense unit, Arman ballistic missile defense system. The strength is tremendous. Radar works 360-degree. It can protect all the nuclear sites it has, including Natanz and Ishfire. You keep exploding, it will keep intercepting. How will it work? The more interceptors you deploy, the more attacks it will do. And the more attack you throw on Iran, the more it will use its defense capacity like the Bavar and the Arman systems. What can you do there? That means Iran's defense system are strong. Although they are in strain right now, but still they are strong. So what are the strategic lessons people can learn from these wars? One, US, Israel, UAE are now getting a coordinated regional war system so that one day they can isolate and overwhelm Iran. But what we must understand is that what about economics here? How much of your GDP will you spend on defense? Is it even sustainable? In order to shoot down cheap drone and cheap missile, will you keep investing money in major interceptor systems like Patriot and Third? Burning lakhs and crores of dollars for no reason? Because laser system like iron beam are much cheaper per shot. They are idle against drone swarm, but interceptors are not the right strategy to be used in the war in the long term. And the war is long term because war will not get so over. So production capacity and supply chain are equally bigger questions when you talk of war. It is not enough to say that we have an advanced weapon system. How much can you deploy? That is also a very big question. How much of your GDP will you give to defense? That is again a bigger question. So these are certain lessons we are learning. Okay, and Iran stands isolated today. So you never know the capacity of Iran either. That is also depleting one by one. GDP for destructive purposes. Correct, Madhav. Very emotionally valid statement. Fourth, with reference to modern air and defense system used in high intensity conflict, look at these. One, hit to kill interceptor destroys incoming missiles mainly through kinetic energy rather than explosive warhead. This is a good question. Second, saturation attacks aim to overwhelm air defense system by launching large number of relatively inexpensive projectiles simultaneously. And three, directed energy system such as high energy laser are considered cost effective against drone swarm attack because they reduce the need for expensive interceptor missile. Which of these are valid here? Initiated from Vikash, Satya, Kritik, Shlok, Ashish. Is there a split? I can see some. Oh, there is a major split. Terkula, Kritik, Joham, Yuvraj, Shlok. Oh, there is a split finally. I'm so happy. What a sadistic person I'm becoming. Such a sadistic teacher. I'm enjoying that there is a split. We all are so political at heart, by the way. I should be happy. I should not be happy, but it's giving some kind of pleasure. I don't know. So, what is going on? Why is there a split? Rajneeshwar, Anup, major split. Major split. AB, Madhav, Sitaram, Kundan, Bhavna, Jivita, new answers, very good. But the split. Okay. So what should be the right answer? One thing is, maybe I'm happy because I don't have to clap. I'm saving my energy by not clapping. Maybe that's why I'm happy. Maybe it's about prediction. Okay. All right. What about the first one? Hit to kill interceptor. It destroys incoming missiles mainly through kinetic energy. Is that correct? Of course it's correct. Of course it's correct. We all know. Earlier, we used to go and we used to just explode near the incoming missile, but that's an old system. Now things have changed. Now they are directly hitting at the missile that's coming. That's how we intercept. So it's correct. That is kinetic energy because you are using the energy of movement, speed, kinesthetics. Correct. If it is correct, then definitely B cannot be the answer. Cannot be the answer. Now, second one. Saturation attacks. What is saturation attack? The strategy used by Iran. You throw so many cheap drones. You throw so many cheap missiles. Such cheap they are that you don't lose anything, but the enemy will get bankrupt. How much will they intercept? Today, tomorrow, day after, one day they will lose, like what is happening with Hard and Patriot. Iran is back to back manufacturing and throwing. Correct. So, what is it meant to do? Overwhelm? Defense system? Yes. Correct. Totally correct. Now, second is correct. D cannot be the answer. C cannot be the answer. No, D can be the answer. But B and C cannot be the answer. A and D can be the answer. Okay. Now, third one. Directed energy system, which you are directing at a focal point like high energy laser. Are they cheaper? Definitely they are cheaper as compared to interceptor. What did I just say? Third, Patriot. All these are taking 1.5 to 2 years to get manufactured. This much time. Thousands of dollars, crores of dollars. How will you use it? In return, at least systems like laser beam of Israel are cheaper. Iron beam, much cheaper. You can still launch it, target your enemy, and that much you don't have to use proper interceptor missile. Much more affordable, no? So correct only. Then D is the right answer. D is the right answer. Interceptor is unaffordable. Countries will go bankrupt one day, whether it is South Korea, US, or whether it is Israel. How much will you manufacture? You will take 2 years to make. They will take 2 weeks to make missile. They will take 2 weeks for the drone. By the time your next system is ready, they will already do a swarm attack on you. Poor Iran. If it is making this strategy, there's nothing wrong in that. When you are alone in the battlefield, you will have to be innovative, right? That's why Iran uses this technology. Swarm attack technology. Saturation attack technology. They are expensive, bache, but they are much cheaper as compared to interceptor missile. What have I not heard? No, it's not like that. Whether it's Yuvraj or whether it's Madhav, for me, everyone is equal. Which question did I miss, bache? Which comment have I missed from Yuvraj? Let me quickly scroll up. Acha, some experts are saying US and India are working on de-radicalization at the global level. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. That's a very, very, I would say, opinionated response if I start giving it, because India, US, Australia, UK, European Union, Japan, all these countries have their own de-radicalization programs. They do run these programs, but typically these are pinpointed programs. They are targeted at those who already migrated out of the country to join larger groups like ISIS. Now, because these people want to come back after ISIS has been devastated in the 2014 war in Syria, and recently again at Syrian attack by US, okay, by Kurdish forces and US together, many of these are running dedicated programs for de-radicalization. At the global level, I'm not sure. I'm not sure at the global level if they have a major program towards de-radicalization. That's something I exactly don't have clarity on. But at the state level, they do run. Yes, they do. They do that. It's a major technique. It's a major way of making sure that youth doesn't go to warfare things. Okay? Is that clear? Okay. Quickly, the next article, the last one for the day. Although I had another one from science that was about re-entry, but I'm not doing it today because we are already a little late. There was special war episode and we took time. So let me now get the re-entry module 1 tomorrow. We'll lap it up tomorrow and we'll finish it tomorrow. Let's do this as the last article for the day. Otherwise, it will get too lengthy. Now, this is interesting. We are looking at GS paper 2. GS paper 2, Pakistan-Afghanistan. So please focus everyone with special focus on the Bagram Air Base. You enjoy the location of the Bagram Air Base. Let me explain this article in 2 minutes. Okay, what is going on? The core issue, today we will not do quiz. Today we will also not be able to do the last article because already it's too late now. We'll take both tomorrow, bache. your special quiz also, and your last article of re-entry module. I will pakka do it tomorrow. But on Telegram, I will shoot a very fascinating question. Try to answer that in the afternoon. Okay, now listen. What's happening? Look at the map first. Can you see the Bagram Air Base, Afghanistan? You know the war is going on between both the countries right now. Very good, Vikash. Absolutely. Thanks for that. What's happening? Escalation is happening between Pakistan and Afghanistan. There is a cross border conflict between Afghanistan and Pakistan, along with an attempted strike on the Bagram base. What happened? Afghanistan claimed that it has cancelled an attempted airstrike by Pakistan on the Bagram air base. Why is Bagram so important right here in the middle of Afghanistan? Bagram air base is a former earlier American US military base near Kabul. You can see the location near Kabul. Afghan forces have used it traditionally for anti-aircraft system and missile defense system. At the same time, cross-border fighting with Pakistan has now been happening for over 2 weeks. Why is Bagram so important? Because Bagram is the largest US military base in Afghanistan. It used to be before the Taliban finally took over in 2021 after US military withdrawal. It has strategic importance. It is located near the capital Kabul. It has very long runways. It can be used for major military operations. It protects Afghanistani regime. Any attack on Bagram means serious escalation, possible external invasion, and strategic signaling against Taliban. But why are Afghanistan and Pakistan fighting? There are many reasons. The biggest is Durand Line. Pakistan accuses that Afghanistan's terrorists do not respect Durand Line. Taliban government refuses to recognize the Durand Line. Airstrikes are happening consistently. There is one more reason. Tariq-e-Taliban Pakistan, the TTP. There is this group. It is an Afghani non-state actor, Afghani terrorist group. It operates from Pakistan. Pakistan says Afghanistan trained these people to create internal strikes in Pakistan. Afghanistan declines those claims. Plus, Pakistan is also afraid of Taliban because India and Afghanistan have many strategic alignments. Previously, we have discussed about some important dams that India has built in Afghanistan. Along with the fact that Afghanistan is a key partner for India in the IMEC, India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. Which are these dams in which India has invested? Salma, Kabul, Shehtut. All these are the dams in news, right? So these are certain reasons they are finding. See, the more war happens between India and Pakistan, the more danger of cross-border militancy in India, the more danger for refugee crisis in India, the more danger that today if Bagram air base is in attack, maybe Russia and US will again get involved to try to capture it. Because ultimately, don't forget, Afghanistan is a buffer country, quite like Ukraine. And buffer countries are always at the target of larger countries. Okay, so that's it then. I'll end it here for today. And the last article was very interesting, very short but interesting. How astronauts re-enter after space mission, especially Gaganyaan, but I'll do this tomorrow. I'll not drag the lecture. Quiz also, we will do it tomorrow. Here are the answers. And do not forget that 6th March, until 6th March, we are having flat 50% off. To use my code SPLIVE for getting additional discount, it could be really good. Now in Telegram, I'm going to shoot a question in the afternoon that is related to Strait of Hormuz. Try to do it as honestly as you can. And this was a war session, so sorry I had to miss the last article, but that's okay. We'll do it tomorrow. Thank you so much for all the support. Lovely participation, enthusiastic questioning, and keep the spirit of questioning. Keep the spirit of arguing. Want the desire to know makes you the most knowledgeable person, and that's what I hope for each one of you, my students. And I am obsessed with your success and I want your success. That's it at any cost. So work hard, take care of yourself. You are the VVIPs and be so until the exam with special care. Lots of love and blessings. I'll catch you tomorrow at 9:30. Some more interesting videos I will post on the channel and Telegram. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless you.